I don't know if he did or didn't offer much training. I think he probably had some useful stuff for them. He's got a good mind for the sport. He's got a good philosophy. He was there a little bit. He wasn't there like full hands-on. That's what I meant. He like, I know he wasn't there for a lot of the practices and stuff like that. So, but I'm not sure. I didn't get to see his coaching style. I'm sure he did fine. He's got a good mind for the sport. If I were in that situation, I would like to get as much knowledge as possible from the current champ. But you know, it's a 6-week process. A lot of these guys have spent their whole careers and lives dedicated to the sport. So, you know, it's one of those things where you don't really need to hold their hand, but to give them every advantage to win, I think being there, I mean, that makes sense. I think he cared about his guys. I mean, he was definitely more invested in Artem. And, you know, as far as, you know, the teams go, a lot of the guys, and I talked to Sean Shelby and Joe Silva, a lot of the guys on the European team should have or had been scheduled or were about to be scheduled to be in the UFC already. So it wasn't like, I mean, those may be guys that Conor is going to fight down the road because these are 55-pounders and 45-pounders. So who knows how that played into things. But that was all the best guys they had in Europe. And so, you know, it was I wouldn't say they were neglected, but, you know, like I said, I would like to have somebody giving me their all. I don't think he crossed the line. Conor's, okay, he's intelligent the way he's approaching these things, but he's not being fake. He really believes that. He believes, and he's kind of right, to be honest, that, you know, he's the money fight right now. He's saying that either the other guys would like to fight him, they like to fight him because it's an easier fight and there's probably more money involved, you know, if they're getting pay-per-view, etc. So he's really believing that, and he's saying it. I mean, Luke can attest to it. We were both backstage with him, and I actually had to take my phone and record some of it because it was hilarious. He was talking to himself. He looked like he was on something, man. He was like pacing around and like screaming about Duffy. He was talking to Luke, and Luke had to, you know, had to say some words to him, and he didn't say a peep to Cowboy, but he was, you know, just going off screaming across the thing to Aldo when no one was watching, getting himself pumped up. So that wasn't fake. He's just, you know, he's an interesting character.
What's your take, Luke?
The guy's good. I mean, the guy's a good fighter. He's a good talker. There can only be so many of those guys in the sport. Not everybody can beat Conor McGregor, otherwise it'd just be a complete shit show. We'd probably lose our credibility here. You know, he's starting to believe his own hype, and he thinks he's way bigger. He thinks he's bigger in the sport now, which is kind of annoying. And we'll see how it all pans out in the future for the guy. But, you know, usually guys that rise that fast fall even harder. So we'll see. We'll see if he can keep his crown. I wouldn't even say his crown. His title is the #1 contender. The guy's not a champion, all right? He just needs to calm down a little bit. He could win the belt. I'm not saying he can't, but he's just strutting around backstage like his dick's 10 feet long with the belt around his end, his chest puffed up, and it's like, cool the fuck down, dude. God.